السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربنا زدنا علما. Today we are going to learn أنواع ما النافية, types of ما النافية. Ma that negates, ma that is uses negation particle. Ma النافية has three types. ما غير عاملة, it negates جملة فعلية. Ma Amila, also called Ma al-Hijaziyya, it negates Jumla Ismiya. And the third type, Ma Muhmala, it negates Jumla Ismiya as well. So remember, out of three types, the first type, that is Ghair Amila, negates Jumla Fi'liya. The rest two, Amila and Muhmala, negate Jumla Ismiya. Important points to bear in mind if you are a beginner student of grammar are Ma Nafiya, that is a particle of negation, can negate both Jumla Fi'liya and Ismiya. It is a particle of refutation. It refutes a claim. In case of Jumla Fi'liya, it causes no change to the i'rab of the sentence, therefore it is called Ghair Amila. When it enters Jumla Ismiya and it works like Lisa, and is called Ma Amila or Ma al Hijaziyya, khabar of this Ma is nasb or can have ba zaida attached to it. So let's learn in detail all this. Ma Nafiya Ghair Amila. So as I said before, it enters Jumla Fi'liya, and this Jumla Fi'liya can be both Madin and Mudari. So both Jumla Fi'liya, Madin, Mudari can be negated by Ma Nafiya Ghair Amila. So here we see Wama Yashurun. Ma is negating Jumla Fi'liya Mudare, and here Wama Rabihat Tijaratuhum, Ma is negating Jumla Fi'liya Madin. In case of Jumla Fi'liya Madin, since it is non-flexible or Mabni, we will not see any change in i'rab anyway. So we cannot figure this out if there is any change to i'rab or not. However, in case of Fi'l Mudari can have Mansoob, Majzoom, Marfu forms. Here we see it in its default form, which is Marfu, Yashuruna. There is no change after the addition of Ma and Nafiya, which was Ghair Amila. So the reason why it is going to be called Ghair Amila, it does not bring any change to the i'rab of the Jumla Fi'liya. It remains in its default form, which is Marfu. Mudari remains in its default form, which is Marfu. Ma Nafiya Amila, which is the second type of Ma, it works similar to Laysa and is also called Ma al-Hijaziyya. It makes Mubtada, Marfu, and Khabar Mansoob. For it to work, there are two rules that must be followed. Two rules that must be followed. Number one, Mubtada must be at the beginning of the sentence. Khabar cannot come before Mubtada. So, our Jumla Ismiya must follow a regular sequence where Mubtada is at the beginning, followed by Khabar. Number two rule is there cannot be an illa, which is harf istasna between Mubtada and Khabar. In other words, Mubtada and Khabar cannot be separated by particle illa, which is harf istasna. Illa cannot be separating Mubtada and Khabar for Ma Nafiya Amila to work like Laysa. Okay. So here we have a verse from Quran, Ma Haza Basharun. Haza Basharun sounds like Jumla Ismiya. Haza seems like a Mubtada. Basharun seems to be working like a Khabar. But there is a change here in the i'rab of the sentence. My khabar, I have learned, is rough in status in Jumla Ismiya. What happened to Basharun? Why not Basharun and Basharan? So I will start to now think about Ma Nafiya, that is Amila, and work similar to Laysa because khabar is now nasb in status. So for Ma Nafiya, that is Amila or Ma al Hijaziya, to function, the rules were Mubtada must be at the beginning. Is my Mubtada at the beginning of the sentence? Yes, of course. Haza is working as a Mubtada and is at the beginning of the sentence. Basharan is doing the job of khabar and is coming after the Mubtada. The second rule that must be followed was there must not be an illa between Mubtada and khabar. Is there any illa here? No, I don't see any illa. So all conditions met. Therefore, I am going to label this Ma Nafiya, Amila, or Ma al Hijaziya. That does tarfa'ul mubtada, makes mubtada marfu, and tansibul khabar, it makes khabar mansub. Ma Nafiya, Amila, or Ma al Hijaziya can have emphasis in its negation by addition of harf jar ba zaida. So when harf jar ba zaida attaches to the khabar of ma al hijaziya, it emphasizes it. So here we can see وَمَاللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ أَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. So mallahu, Allahu looks like mubtada. Ma is negation particle or nafiya. So is it truly ma al hijaziya? Let's figure that out. Allahu is the subject. Lafzul Jalala is mubtada. Marful ta'zim. Here, I will see bighafilin. Allah is not at all unaware. So unaware, not at all unaware is giving me the information about my mubtada. So this is for sure the khabar for Lafzul Jalala. So for my ma and nafiya, I have learned the khabar is either nasban status or it can have harjar ba attached to it for more emphasis, for added emphasis. So since I know that khabar of ma can be emphasized by the addition of ba zaida, I am going to call this jar wal majroor lafzan mansoob mahallan, since from my previous information from this class I have learned that khabar of ma is nasb status. I'm not going to call this construction jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil khabar because this is my khabar. This is coming up as my khabar. I'm going to call this mansoob mahallan. This is taking the place of my khabar. Ba is just there to emphasize it more. It is there to emphasize it more. It is not giving the meaning of in, with, all those meanings that can come with ba. So, keeping that in mind, I will make sure that my mubtada is at the beginning, and it is. I will make sure mubtada and khabar are not separated by illa, and they are not. I don't see any illa. Therefore, I will call this ma al hijaziya or ma nafiya amila, which works similar to laysa. Then comes my amma. Here, an plus ma, which is jar wal majroor, mutaliq bil khabar, and ma is mawsula, and ta'maluna is silatul mawsul la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. So then I can also emphasize the negation by addition of min zaida to the mubtada of the sentence. And mubtada must be nakira or common. Min zaida gives more emphasis, brings in more emphasis, but it attaches itself only to the mubtada of the sentence, number one. And number two condition for it to work is mubtada must be nakira. And there is another condition as well, that means either is going to be seen in negative sentences or question sentences. You will look for min zaida in negative sentence or question sentence. But here, since we are learning negation, we'll focus on negation only. So here, I have a verse from Surat Al-Haqqa, verse number 47. Ma minkum min ahadin anhu hajizina. There is no fail that I can see here. So here I can see there is min that is attaching itself to ahadin that can be mubtada of the sentence. It was originally ahadun, but to bring more emphasis, there is min attached to it. So this is going to be ismuma. This is majroor lafzan because of min. However, since my ismuma is rafan status, therefore I'm going to call it marfu mahallan, that fi mahalli raf'in or marfu mahallan. Okay, and then anhu is going to be my jar wal majroor mutaliq bil khabar, and hajizina is the khabruma. So this hajizina here is my clue that this ma is ma al hijaziya, because this was nasb status, and that is how I figured out that this ma is working like laysa, and here I have my khabru and ismu ma, and this is my khabru ma. There is no illa separating these two, and Khabar is not before my ismu ma. Okay? Then comes my third type of ba, which is ma muhmala. When requirements for ma al-hijazi are not met, what happens to ma? It loses its action and is now called muhmala. It was able to act, but not anymore because the conditions, the two rules that were there that we learned in a few minutes ago were not met. So, what were those rules? Mubtada was not at the beginning of the sentence, or there was an illa separating mubtada and khabar, coming in between mubtada and khabar. So, look here. وَمَا لَهُم مِّن نَاصِرِينَ looks like a jumla ismiya. لَهُم جار بالمجرور. من ناصرين من زايدة attaching itself to the mubtada, but mubtada is not after ma. It's not at the beginning of the sentence. Therefore, ma could not function like Lisa. It lost its action. Similarly, ma lahu fil akhirati min khalaqin. Again, this is min zaida attaching itself to the mubtada of jumla ismiya. Since my jumla ismiya was negative sentence and min is going to be found in either jumlas that are nafi or that are istifhamiya. So here min khalaqin is mubtada that is muakhar. Therefore, their ma is not going to be ma al-hijaziya. However, now this ma is going to be labeled as ma muhmala. The second condition which was required for ma al-hijaziya was there must not be an illa between mubtada and khabar. And here we see a verse from Surah Ali Imran, verse number 185, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. Al-hayatu seems like mubtada. First ism, rafin status also proper. So, ad-dunya is a sifa for al-hayatu illa. Illa mata'ul ghurur. Mata'u, why? After ma, I'm not seeing a khabar, nasbin status, because its action is cancelled by illa. Illa cancelled the action of this ma, and now since it cancelled the action of ma, this ma is going to be called muhmala because it is now neglected. It could not act anymore. It lost its action because of the presence of illa. Okay, so now I'm going to call al hayatu mubtada and mata'ul ghurur as khabar. Again, this is going to be not called min nasirina is no longer going to be called as ismuma, or min khalaqin is not going to be labeled as ismuma anymore. It is going to be called mubtada. Okay, which is majroor lafzan marfu mahallan, and that is all about ma. I hope you find this session beneficial for yourself. If you do, kindly share with your peers. Keep in dua. In nutshell, that you everything that you need to know about ma is if the khabar of ma in jumla ismiya is not nasbin status, if mubtada is not at the beginning of the sentence, if illa is in the sentence, you will simply label your ma in jumla ismiya as ma muhmala. Okay? Because ma will lose its function because of the previously mentioned facts. Because either the mubtada was delayed or there was an illa. So, and anyways, khabar marfu will give you a clue that ma is not functional anymore. It has lost its function because of the rules not being met. So with that, I will end the session. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.